It won't take but a second.
Mm-hmm. No El Rusho. Oh, come on.
It's just a name. It's just a name.
Yes, I can check my pictures to see if I have any seeds in my teeth, because, you know.
Oh, speaking of pictures, you need to get all your pictures to the bishop from the other day.
Oh, yeah, I need a Dropbox.
If you shoot him to me, I can set up something that he can get to. I don't think he uses Dropbox, but I can set him up something that he can get to pretty easy.
All right, I've added it to my to-do list.
Okay. That's not what I want. That's what I want.
No, those are my special. Oh, you moved it. Those are my special private pictures.
Oh, God, no. Okay, so it is update. All right, so it's on our page. So we are live. We're on the page. We are ready to rock and roll. So I'm gonna do time, then music. No, I'm gonna do marker, time, then music.
Yeah, and I don't mess with the marker on this one.
Right. No, I got the rest of it. All right, marker, time, music.
This is Armored and Mon. And I am Charles McFall. And we are all about bigger, better, more.
Bigger, badder, better, more. We're here to help others be awesome.
And you've landed on the comedic motivational show, Success Freaks.
Welcome everyone to the #1 Let It Go, can't hold me back anymore comedic motivational show, otherwise known as Success Freaks. Today's working title is episode 152, Transitions, Let It Go. And today we're coming at you semi-live from Gastonia, North Carolina, and the Bears Den in Monticello, Georgia. And sitting in his chair, passively watching, not even cracking a smile, not even giving a frown. He's not giving me flack. He's just the rock, the bear, the dark side of positive, Charles McFall.
You know, 3 years ago we did this episode on when I was going through some hard times, and you know, we stopped broadcasting for a while, but now we're back, and now everything's good. And I'm a millionaire. We're all great. So yeah, transitions is a very natural episode after last week's episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is, and that's actually signifying the new month of June. That's what our monthly theme is this time. Transitions, the stuff that we are going through, going from one level to another, whether you're going up, going down, you're transitioning in and out of relationships. People have been transitioning in and out of jobs. Now, a lot of them transitioning back in. Different things like that, and so yeah, it is a good thing. It is. I hope so. I hope it's a thing that's happening, especially after last week, because last week it was all about the suck and dealing with the suck, and we don't want to live there. We don't want to stay there forever. We want to transition out, and I think that's what you're beginning to do.
Well, you know, everything is a transition. Everything is a step moving forward, and that's something we're going to talk about in the last segment of today's episode, and we'll get there. You're always moving. Whether you realize it or not, you think you can quit life, but you really can't, and life doesn't go around you. You just ignore the progress and ignore the changes. And if you ignore the changes, you end up falling back, and it's a mess. So as long as you're being successful or trying to strive for success, and that's the heart of everything we do on Success Freaks, is bigger, better, more, level up your life. I've never lost sight of that. So things are moving forward and progressing, and as you grow, as you change, as you try to get the next thing up, it's going to change you. And sometimes there's growing pains, good or bad. We're going to talk about that also. So why don't we just get into what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah. Yep. Today we're talking about basically let it go. Those things that they're not really serving a purpose in your life anymore. Those things that are helping you get in your own way, helping you drag your feet from moving forward, from leveling up your life. You know, those things that are just those things that are just keeping you from wanting to to move forward with things. And speaking of moving forward with things, although I have my ringer turned down, I'm going to say it right now. We've begun talking to a radio station based out of Gastonia, North Carolina, and they're calling me right now.
That's
so
awesome.
you know, I'm not going to answer it because I'm a professional, and I'll get back to them. But
it is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about, well, in this segment, we really want to hit the growing pains part of it because it comes with good stuff or bad stuff. And you and I have done growing pain shows at least once, if not twice before, because we've gone through things. And you can go back. If you're a new listener, you can go to successfreaks.com, and check out the archives and see how much we've changed from the beginning to now. And the first year was different than the second year, and the second year was different than the third. And there's always change, but most of our growing pains shows have been, man, we're going to this next level of success. We're going to this next level of good thing. And we always have to adjust. And we've done a lot of those. Now this is the first time that as a success freak that we've hit a really hard time and going, no, we're changing, and it's what seemingly is a bad situation. And it's definitely not a fun situation. So you go through those pains there as well, but we're going to cover the good and the bad. I mean, let's talk about some of the stuff we've done so far. We went from you basically hosting a show once every 2 weeks, and I was there as a producer, but I wasn't your partner then, to becoming partners, to going on to No Agenda, a lot of other things. What are some of the good growing pains that we've gone through?
Learning how to do the conference, that was just last year. Us exploding at NMX and a couple of trips, but most of the time it wasn't any tripping at NMX. It was all just good. There's been some personal growth, some personal pains that we've gone through, whether it's financial, whether it's relationship stuff or anything like that. And I think that being attached to Success Freaks and forcing ourselves to look at it in a positive light has actually helped us as individuals. I know for one thing, it's helped me look at my attitudes with certain things, my way I treat people, sometimes some of my anger issues, things like that. It's like, look, I'm accountable now, and if I have an episode, I will put it out there and let people know about it. So I need to watch that. What I like about what's going on right now is you hear about separating the wheat from the chaff. You hear about how, let's throw this up against the wall and see what sticks. Well, right now with some of the stuff that we're going through, it's like, is this, this stuff that we've been quote unquote preaching, that we've been proselytizing about, that we've been motivational speaking to everybody else, hey, look, you're going through a hard time and this is how you work through it. Do we really believe that? Are we going to put that into practical application, or
No.
is it just something that we can say to sound good, but when it's our life on the line, no, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm gonna hold on to my, everybody gets to have the grumpy Gus feeling. Everybody gets to be frowny, and everybody gets to have the pity party, especially when the moment you get kicked in the nards, you get to lie on the ground in the fetal position going, that hurts, and now I'm nauseous. But eventually you have to kick yourself up. You have to kick yourself up. I like that. You have to kick yourself up. And this stuff that we're telling everybody, it's a testing ground right now for us. Do we really believe this? Is it really what's going on? And there's some growing pains in that, good and bad. At the very least, it's shining a light on those things that, well, yes, I believe it, but in practical application in my life, I'm not really exercising this. So I get to choose to not talk about that anymore and just kind of ignore it, or I need to iron some things out. So that, that's one thing that's good. The other thing is it's also like a little life raft, or a lifesaver, one of those rings they throw to you when you're swimming around the pool and drowning. It's like, oh yeah, I believe this. I've said this. I'm going to hold on to this, even though it doesn't feel like everything's moving my way, because that's the kind of life I want to have. And I'm going to have that life. And not only am I going to, I have that life. Even here in the midst of the storm, even if I'm not even in the calm of the eye, even if I'm in the blowing winds, I'm going to have this life. I have this life. And so I'm going to move forward with this. And there's some growing pains with that.
There's just growing pains with everything, but you have to keep your head. Talking about the storm, the one thing I want to say about that is you have to keep your head up. We've talked about Peter walking on the water and being distracted by the storm. I think we did a whole show on that. But the whole idea is it's human nature to see what's just going on right now, to get buried. And it seems like every time I've put my head up going, okay, there's this good thing to hold on to and that good thing, it got taken away too. So I don't even look at my family because I'm like, nope, they're not there. La, la, la. You can't take it. No, I'm just kidding. And to reiterate from last week, the family's the strongest thing in all of this. But you have to look at what's going on. And in the after, in the on beyond, I've got a story to tell. I'm going to write it down. I've got a story to tell from last week that will apply to this show today. But look around. I mean, fixing things. A long time ago, our PT Cruiser got hit by somebody else just randomly. They ran into us. And it was able to fix a lot of other things that were going on with the car because of the one accident. So the seemingly really bad thing where nobody was hurt is actually a good thing. It helped us out. So keep this. Yes, do that. Keep this going. Hit us up, facebook.com/successfreaks. We're on there all the time. We'd love to hear from you. Email us, contact@successfreaks. We'd like to know what's going on with you and how you get through the pains. All that's coming up next. Damn it! Why am I recording? It's nothing big. It's I like it when Reaper goes, and I just have to hit the button. But for some reason, it's gotten off to where I have to scroll with the recording and then find the marker and place it in. It's just an annoyance. It's like,
that is weird.
Yeah,
Mine
it does it from time to time.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Well,
weird.
it only does it when you've clicked into the box after recording, which I didn't do. I don't know why it's. See the marker where we got started is in the wrong place. So probably because we started and stopped. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Mister. I'm not sure we can do 10 minutes on that one little bit. I just kind of looked up just because you said that. I was like laughing. I looked up. I can see that you did 3.5 minutes yourself. On that little bit. So that was fun.
Nice.
You always worry about it. You never should.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting better with it. You know what's interesting? I was just thinking about it as we started this show. I'm really relaxed.
Good.
I'm not like, oh, well, we got to wear it. And it's just like, this is just what we do. And it's fun. And it's nice that, that I remember that nervous energy I had the first few times. And even, doing the No Agenda stream the first few times. And this is easy peasy. Speaking of wonderful things, I actually had somebody come up to me this week at the festival, some fan, and she specifically spoke about Success Freaks, and thank you both of us for doing what we do. And I said, please go to the Facebook page, please, email us, do something, and say that. Let us know that. I don't know if she's going. She said she would. Oh yeah, of course, that no problem. I don't know if she will or not, but from now on, when I hear stuff, I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah, that's
because it's not fair that I get it and you don't get it.
That's different. I'm looking at our Facebook page real quick, and it's not wanting to cooperate. Come on. Catherine Linton posted a photo.
What is it of?
I don't know. I have to look. That's on May 29th, so that's pretty quick, close to here. Pretty much everything else is us. So let me click on this real quick. I clicked on her page. I didn't want to do that. Back. Because we're just wasting time right now.
Nope, you're fine. I'm looking to see if somebody actually says.
Oh, self-leadership. There's a fence where somebody graphically put this. What if the only thing in your way is you? Self-leadership, when you are the barrier to your own success. That's what she shared. And Success Freaks now like that.
Good.
So, okay. My chair just dropped. I hate that. So the next segment is letting go of the bad. I am ready when you are.
All right, let go of the bad. Transitions, let it go. Okay. Hang on, let me so I don't forget, I'm gonna text Sharon that title change. All right, that's done, and I need the clocks back. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. All right, I'm going to do time, then marker, and you'll go.
Yep.
Time, marker.
Welcome back to Success Freaks, and today we're talking about transitions. Let it go. Letting go of those things that you don't need. Sometimes they may be good things. Often they're the bad things, and letting go of the bad seems like it should be the easiest thing that we should do, and yet we cling to them tenaciously with both hands as if that was the very thing giving us life. What's up?
Yeah, sometimes. I think it's that paradigm, that yin yang almost of, yes, sometimes we cling to them, yes, but sometimes it's easy just to throw them away. It's that weird paradigm, right? The stuff you have listed absolutely is both. Let's go with it. The dead weight. Many people going through financial problems will just start dropping things. There was a thing I heard called strategic foreclosure, which is really just crappy, I don't want to be in this house anymore, walk away from it. But people do that with ease. Why did that ding at me? Damn it. I'll fix that.
Put a marker.
Marker? Anyway, so strategic, okay. I've heard a thing called strategic foreclosure where people just walk away from their house because they don't want to be in it anymore, and that's not strategic. That's not honoring your debts. But dead weight, I think, I'll throw this back to you. I think dead weight is easy to drop sometimes when it's not people, when it's just things, when it's like, oh, well, that doesn't work anymore, just get rid of it. What do you think?
I think the hardest thing about dead weight is realizing that it's there, and it's just as simple as looking through your stuff. But we're talking financially because we're just coming off of our money month. When you're paying bills and you're like, you know what, I want to streamline everything. I want to pay off my credit cards. So what can I do to get extra money that I won't have to do that anymore? And you start looking through your list of things that you're paying for on a regular basis and going, do you really need this? Do I really want this? Do I really want that? Oh, wow, I forgot about that. That's still, so I think with dead weight, sometimes it's just that you don't realize that you should be getting this, you don't
Sure.
really need that magazine subscription to Boys Life anymore because you're not in the Boy Scouts. Why have you been paying for this whole time?
Wow.
Yes, I did.
No.
That was that was in the 70s when I was in the Boy Scouts. Shut up.
Right. So yes, you don't realize that you have the dead weight, but I think once you realize it, it's easy to let go. So I can see the hard part of that is realizing you have it. What about people? People to me are the hardest thing.
And realizing that some of them are the dead weight. Well, this person, they've been my best friend for years. I have friends that I will go back home to Florida, and they are doing exactly the same thing that we all did in our 30s. And there'll be times where I'll go to the house and I kind of hang out, and I'm like, wow, I'm feeling the urge to do nothing again. And there got to be a point where when I went back in town, I'm like, I'm not dropping by the house anymore because that's not where I'm at. And I love my friend, and I'm happy for them if they're content with what they're doing. Good for them. But that's not where I am, and the circles that I travel in right now move a little faster than that. And it's not always the easiest, but it's always not always the easiest thing to let somebody go, and that's just somebody who's not growing with you. That's not just somebody not leveling up with you. What if they happen to be somebody who's actually holding you back? You know, for whatever reason, you know, somebody in your business who's not, you know, hey, you know, we hired you, and I'm sorry, it's just not a good fit. You know, you're a little antagonistic with other people, or you have a different viewpoint than, and it's my company. You have a different viewpoint than my company, or you know, you're getting in the way of other people because you're not playing at the same level they are, or working at the same level they are, whether it's your work ethic or your ability. You know, that's kind of sometimes that's necessary. And once you cut those people loose, you find that the energy you were spending on dealing with them is now put towards moving your projects forward. It's like, wow.
I still think it comes back to that self-responsibility. It's still the decisions you made. I've been in the position where I've had to fire friends on different levels. And, you know, I'll go ahead and say the first one because he's here. We talk about all the time. Not here, but he produces the show and he's been on the show. But Hugh from the Road Show, we started off just friends and podcasting, and I always had major goals to do what I'm doing now and beyond. And he never did. And he was open and honest. And I was like, no, come along. And I brought him along for the ride. And ultimately it got to that point where I needed to go in the direction I needed to go in. But we had built this thing together. And we were friends and brothers, and I handled it wrong. I mean, I fired him on the air, and because off the air it just didn't sink in, and it was a rough patch for us, and which was like 3 days, and then we got past it, and we both realized it was my responsibility because all along he said, I don't want to go where you're going. I just want to have this tiny little thing and be happy, which I helped him build ultimately and gave to him, and he's happy. And it was his responsibility in being in it because I always said, I want this big, huge rock star lifestyle. And we both didn't listen to each other. We both didn't take responsibility. But it's a hard thing to do. But you're right. Once he and I separated our paths, we were able to become much better friends. He was just here at my house. And this was years and years and years ago. And he was just here at my house a couple weeks ago. And we're better than ever, both in what we do in our lives and as friends. And that's a hard thing. I mean, another one was a transition we made into a different company. And I'd been friends with this guy for a long time, and because I took a position in this company and became his boss, I had to make some hard phone calls. But again, that ultimately made us better. But see, in that situation, I handled it differently because it's like, here's your responsibilities. I need you to live up to them. And we had that conversation a couple of times. So finally, you're just not living up to them.
Right.
But it's still hard because they're your friends. And yeah.
I think it all goes back to what you're willing to allow in your life. Whether you allow in your life, allow in your business, allow in your relationship. Those of you who are dating, those of you who are still going on first dates, people will be very, very honest, especially on a first date. They will let women listen to me. Men will tell you what they're about. You have to listen. I went out with a woman years ago, and she's, we were kicking around at a bar, and she was just, it was a double date with her and her friend and another friend of ours, and she was just she's being playful and everything like that. But then she was like, you know what? I'm kind of mean sometimes, and because I know that people are honest, especially in the beginning, I listened to that and went, okay. And her humor was kind of mean. And you know what? I didn't ask her out anymore. One date, goodbye. You told me you're this way. Tell you what, I believe you. Thank you, but no thank you.
So what you told her on the date is, I go out once and never talk to people again. See ya.
We actually remained friends after that. She's now married, baby, blah blah blah, and hopefully making somebody else's life wonderful, and hopefully she's not mean to them.
No, of course I'm just teasing Mordance, because I'm sure that he was communicative with her, and like you said, you're still friends and that kind of thing. The stuff that we're running out of time on, but it really comes back to the hard things to let go of our bad attitude that we've been taught. That's the thing.
There's so much of this. There's so much of this here. I didn't want to just brush all this under the table.
That doesn't work for me.
To the next segment. Well, you have to work on that bad attitude of yours. Is it just part of your growing pains, brother?
All right, well, we could we could roll that over and play with that. So
Yeah, some of the letting go bad stuff that you have to do is actually your bad, and we'll talk about that in the next segment for sure.
And we'll talk about letting go of the good stuff too. I think, yeah, we're going to hit it all. So let us know what you're going through. SuccessFreaks.com, of course. We're there. You can post comments, find our shows. But better yet, you can find our email there, contact@SuccessFreaks. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We would love to hear from you. Email us there. We'll run forward with it. And two other places really, I keep getting it wrong. Facebook.com/SuccessFreaks. And, of course, at @success_freaks on Twitter. We shall return in a moment. Okay. We'll roll that in. Talking about our bad and then the good.
Yep.
After that. We'll keep rolling.
I guess the colored is the old stuff first, and we'll just, because I wanted to hit that. And
okay.
What else did I want to say? Life has changed. What does that say? Oh. Holding on to what you're used to. That's why we hold on to stuff too long. Okay.
All right. You ready to go?
Yeah.
Let me get my time in here. I'm not ready. Haha. All right. I'm going to do time and then marker. Time, marker.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we're talking about transitions. Let it go. Especially letting go of the bad. In the last segment, we talked about letting go of the bad. This segment, we're supposed to talk about the good, but we're not done talking about the bad. Sometimes, why would you want to hold on to the bad things? First of all, anyways, a lot of people do it because that's what they're used to. You know what? I'm comfortable with this. This is what my life has been, and most of that's subconscious. It's not like I want to hold on to this addiction that I've had for years because it's so much fun. Smokers. However, I didn't say cigar smokers. You're good.
Okay. I just the thought I had with that is it's so easy to look at somebody else's life and say, why are you doing this? I mean, I can remember the time after time looking across this desk at you and us having talks and going, this is what I see in your life. And it's so easy to do that for somebody else, but then in turn, you don't realize what you're holding on to and seeing the crap in your own life.
Right. And the question you have to ask yourself is, does this serve you anymore? Is this moving you forward? This is helping you grow. Is this helping you level up? Whether it's a habit, whether it's your attitude. If your bad attitude is getting in the way of you having a fulfilled relationship or job or business, you want to check that at the door and find another way to be. Self-limiting beliefs, that as well. Did you want to say something about the bad attitude?
I want to say something on all of it because we're going to hit these little points, but what we ultimately want to talk about is how to fix it. And I'm not jumping ahead to level up. This really hit right now. It's what you focus on. I'm hearing in my head the stuff we said before about, well, when you look to fail and something fails, see it went wrong. And it's like, what do you focus on? When I started my life with my wife, everything was kind of half-assed, to be honest with you. It was, we got into the only thing that was good was the marriage, but we were broken people, so everything we did was somewhat broken. We got into 3 homes that didn't work out for us, the third one being the one we're in now. We had a wedding. We talked about this last night. We had a wedding it was great to be married, but the wedding was just kind of weird and kind of half, it wasn't really us, and it was kind of this and that. And I realized we're moving to a different section of our lives because we're both focused on what's next, the level up our lives, the ultimate goal of where we want to be. We've learned so much about ourselves. When you focus on what you want in a good way and where you want to go, you start running into these growing pains. And the immediate story that popped in my mind was when I started a band. We were doing really well in relation to what we were doing. We were progressing. We improved. My mixing skills were getting better on the audio, putting it together. And so I got onto a site that was for bands that are starting out that says, here's our music, and vote for us, and rank us up, and we'll get played on some station, and you could ask for feedback. And because I wanted to grow, I immediately asked for feedback on the production level, and then forgot because my focus wasn't on getting better at producing. My focus wasn't on actually being better at what I do. My focus was on being a rock star and, hey, come tell me how good I am. And when people started giving feedback, because on this site you had to ask for feedback or they weren't allowed to do it. When they started giving feedback on, well, this was bad, this was off, this was, I got so mad. I'm like, what? I said some words. Let's just say it that way. I'm like, nobody asked you. Da-da-da-da-da. And I remember now that I did ask, because there's no way they could have done it without me asking. I asked for feedback. And that's what happens when you want to level up your life. You start letting go of the bad, but you can't realize you have the bad until people start pointing it out. And you're going to go, why are you putting this out in my life? What's going on? Because universally you asked because you want to be better.
Sometimes that's what when other people come up and say things to you, it's almost as if the universe is giving you a gift. If you're having problems in your life and they're shining a light on those things you need to work on, you can look at that as that, hey, that's my bad luck, or you can say, wow, I'm kind of being given a gift because this is something I need to work on. My financial woes, mine personally, my inability to speak, my financial woes are things I need to work on. And the fact that I'm spending so much money on credit card bills is a little light going off saying, take care of this. So letting go of the bad, let go of those self-limiting beliefs thinking that you can't. Let go of those self-limiting habits that, I don't, why should I even bother? I'm going to stay here on the couch. That laziness, or you know what? I'd rather be playing this game right now than working on this thing that's going to take me hours to do. I get immediate gratification.
Yeah.
It's all about what your willpower. What about the will to really be alive? And that's going to take constant practice. It's going to take constant effort. It's going to take you constantly exposing yourself to things that are going to help you grow and level up. So it's going to take that effort so you can move beyond your self-limiting habits. However, let's talk about letting go of the good.
Yeah, I put home in parentheses because I'm not wanting to speak about my specific house. I want to talk about where we're comfortable. And I've been in many situations where I've grown and I've learned and I became a better person. And when you do that, it feels like home, be it a job that you're working in that you're comfortable in, be it a house, be it a church, whatever. You can look somewhere in your life and there's somewhere. In Cheers, it was the bar, right? The song from the TV show Cheers is you want to go where everybody knows your name. That feels like home. But there are times in your life when it's time to move on, and it's very, very difficult. I know for Mordant, it's going to be the Tortuga Twins. That's an obvious one. When the time comes, and the time will come because that's just life, it's going to be hard. How do you, sir, think you'll handle leaving your quote-unquote home?
I think that something that I've always said, I've always kind of talked about the wave that pushes me forward. I would like to think it's not so much leaving one thing and not having something else to go to. I'm hoping that the other thing has become so big and filled my life so up, and whatever that may be, success freaks, some other passion of mine, a relationship or whatever, that I'm not letting go because the Tortuga Twins doesn't serve a purpose. It's just that this other thing has grown so huge that it's drawing me. I remember I used to be afraid of that, and when I was working with somebody else, and she would kind of push me towards that direction, I wasn't even ready to hear it. So I get all bunged up about it, and I'm like, I'm not ready to let go of that. But there may come a time when that happens, and will I be able to let go of that good for the greater good? Sure, because then by that time I'll be ready.
Yeah, you say sure, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And go ahead.
So you've never been asked in anything in your life, and I think you probably have, but it might not come up, and that's fine. But you've never been asked by the universe to just step forward on faith, to say,
absolutely, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. Because that's the hard part, right? Is you're in your comfort zone. That's what I call home, is my comfort zone, but you're going, I know I'm not supposed to be here anymore. And that's hard.
Yeah, and you don't know what's being created in front of you. It's when I first went on the road with Tortuga Twins. I went with my buddy Ron, who plays Scaramouche, and honestly, I was just I was doing waitering at home, and I was doing manpower services, which was temp services. That was it. So I really didn't have too much I was holding on to, but I'd never been on the road. I didn't have anything. So I didn't know the huge thing Tortuga Twins was going to become. So it was a big leap of faith. It was a good choice. And I think that working with you and Success Freaks is another good choice as well. Taking that big step, putting myself out there in that way. But Success Freaks more grew It was already growing, and it just drew me in. Versus, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. It just kind of was like, hey, we're having fun along the way. Yeah. So, you know, real quick before the time runs out, I want to talk about too. There's such a thing as too many passions, too many projects. If you have, you know, if you have 7 or more projects going at one time and they're all suffering, you got to drop some, or at least start, you know, whittle it down to 2 or 3 so that you can get stuff done. Or like myself, you're not going to get any of them done. It sucks. It sucks for you. It sucks for anybody else who's going to hope to see this stuff. So fewer projects.
There are too many projects. There's also too many people, and I think we're going to put this story in On Beyond. But what do you do when you have a goal for your life, and for a while it meshes up, and you're helping people, and then your ultimate goal for your life is pulling you away? The easiest one that comes to mind is getting married. You want to be married, and you have friends, and a lot of times when you get married, especially with single friends, especially when you're young, the friends fall away. How do you deal with that? And that's something that we're going to deal with on Beyond. And on the radio here, you don't hear On Beyond. You have to go to successfreaks.com to find the podcast. The podcast has an extra 15 to 17 minutes to fill out the entire hour, and you'll get extra stories. So check it out there. Always hit us up, facebook.com/successfreaks. Twitter.com @success_freaks. You know, next coming up, we're going to talk about leveling up, how to take all of this in stride. Stay tuned.
Very nice.
All right, let me write this down.
Let me write this down.
I think I was going to tell the whole how I built my life and my wife story and On Beyond, but I just basically hit that. So
say that again.
I think originally when I said I got a story and we'll tell it On Beyond, it was, I'm pretty sure it was, because I've forgotten now, but I'm pretty sure it was how Aaron and I have built our lives. I realized last night that we built it on the people that we were, and the people that we were have changed. And if you look back, this right here, this house is the last vestige of what we were. I remember what I was going to tell about that house. Okay, I wrote it down. So we're going into taking it all in stride. I think, to me, and I'm definitely open to a different opinion, I think level up is how to take all of it in stride, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know,
right.
That's the level up part.
Look what I just wrote. Life has changed. Just grow with it. So that is perfectly in keeping with what you were talking about.
It is. When I hear "just grow with it," kind of sounds flippant a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, how about the thing that I kept with that I had was life has changed, because I want to talk about that. Get used to it. Life is going to change. You know, love it or leave it, baby. So we can drop the "just grow with it" and talk about what you're talking about.
Learn. You can say learn to grow. It's just when you phrase it just.
Right.
It's
grow. How about grow with it? Or learn to grow with it. You like that better?
Sure.
Yeah, or you just don't like the whole thing.
I don't know. It's the energy behind it. 'Cause I think of something that happened last summer. I don't want to even put it out there, but a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, went through something that was for her huge, and I know there was a kerfuffle about it because she was being overdramatic about it, and you reacted differently to her, and it didn't help. And I just that's what popped in my mind when I hear "just grow with it." I think there's a way to say it that shows that we have to deal with this too, is all I'm saying.
Okay, I'll just leave "life is changing." You can tell me that.
We do grow with it. You say what you need to say.
No, that's fine.
Mind your words, boy.
I want you, not right now, but I want you to tell me about the story so I can grow from it as well.
Okay. And it's not something that we need to really put out. We'll talk about it.
Let's talk about how Morton sucks.
No. Once I tell you the story, I want to put it out for those watching the video. It's not a story about how Morton sucks. It's not that he did something wrong. It's that we all react out different ways. And being success freaks with the show and the videos, we really want to watch and connect as best we can to where you are. So I'm very careful. If I hear something that sounds flippant, and even if it's not, I want to make sure it's not, to try to avoid the pothole of,
Right.
You know, 'cause our job is to make you uncomfortable, but it's to also make you uncomfortable and give you a place to go.
Right.
So that's all. I got 10 minutes 49 seconds on the clock.
Okay, what are we gonna? You haven't written down anything in the segment 4 about what you want to talk about. Just put it where you want to put it. If we're gonna start with it, or we're gonna.
No, we're not going to start with it. There's a very positive thing I want to put on this. What you've said, what others have said. So there you go.
So there you go.
And then I'll try to make sure we hit the 3 or 4 minute mark so we can talk about everything else. Any last minute words, last meals, those kind of things.
Last meals.
All right. So I'm going to do marker. No, I'm going to do time, then marker, and then we're going to go.
Oh, yeah, let me get my clock A.
I guess I should do more like this because on the little cam you can see me better. Yeah, just let me know when your clock's ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Time marker.
Welcome back to Success Freaks. Today we are discussing transitions. Let it go. Let it go of those things that are not serving you. Let go of those things that are helping you get in your own way. Whatever it is that's keeping you from leveling up your life and moving forward, let it go. It's time for that transition. And one of the things to consider, those of you who are like, well, I don't like transitions. I don't like growing pains. That kind of pain, it hurts. You know what? Kiddies, Uncle Morton's letting you know life is change. Love it or leave it, because you're going to do both either way.
Yeah.
You know, life isn't a series of changes. You don't get to stay one age. You're in your 20s and life is a certain way because you have certain hormonal things happening to you. And then, okay, I finally got a handle on this. And then boom, you're in your 30s. You got to figure that out. And everything, you know, the mortgage and all that. And then boom, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s. Life is change. Learn as you go and make adjustments on the fly, make those transitions, and if you can learn to love the change and appreciate the change and how you're growing, and appreciate that, oh, not that you're getting older, but that you haven't passed already, you're still here enjoying life, and learn to love that, I think you're going to have a better time with your transitions.
I had a youth pastor at one point who'd been in the industry. I think now he's probably been in the industry over 40 years. I mean, he was not old, but he was definitely older and wiser when I met him. And he used to say, because there was always something changing in that group, physically, you know, people, all that jazz. He goes, the only thing that changes is the only thing that stays the same. At least we're consistent, you know. And that's life, is always changing. You know, I heard a line last night on something, I don't remember what it was, that marriage changes you as a person. Kids change you as a person. And while this is true, I think it also, what it really does, it doesn't change you as a person. It starts to whittle away at the things that were the dead weight and that you didn't know you had, that you realize that aren't important anymore. Those friends who fall away when you get married or have kids are good friends. Don't get me wrong, there's still people I love to see that are not in my life actively anymore. But I've always said it this way. Honestly, I stole this a little bit from the churchy thing that's all about Jesus is walking alongside the dude on the beach, and then one footprint gets taken away, blah, blah, blah. Everybody who is fairly familiar with that. But I took the idea of a path. Sometimes we walk together on a path, and there will be lives that do that always, you know. For me, it's going to be my wife. We've stayed together for 12 years now, 13 years, and we work hard to keep that up. And Morton and I have been together for 3 or 4 years now. We work hard to keep that up, and nothing's changing right now. But there are definitely times when paths diverge. When I went from bear crawling to Success Freaks, I lost a lot of friends. Not because they don't talk to me, but because our paths went in different directions. I can still hit them up. I can still say, hey. I still have a fond place in my heart for them. But my path went in a different direction. And that's something that we're talking about, taking it all in stride, is you have to learn to keep your head up. And I'll tell my story, and I want to get to Morton's story here. Right now I'm going through a lot of things. I'm going through a bankruptcy and having to move in a sad way. You know, we're being forced to move. And But what I want to say is everybody from Mordant to Barber Beach to a lot of other friends in my life said, but you're a success freak. You keep your head up. And I do. And something that dawned on me yesterday when I was explaining something to somebody, I was talking to them, and I said, you know what? For a long time, we've been trying to figure out, when we got into this home, we were trying to figure out how to get out of it. It was supposed to be a 5-year home, and we wanted to move into something better. And here we are 10, 11 years later, not being able to do that. And a few years ago, I started thinking, how are we going to get into our next home? We can't afford to sell this house because the market has made it upside down. We can't afford to get out. We never had a strategy, an end game, as they say, an exit strategy, as they say in business, an end game, as they say everywhere else in the world. That's cool cats. We never truly planned for it, so we didn't save up what, in my mind, would be you should have at least $20,000 to put down on any home. We didn't prepare to be able to sell this home in a quick fashion, so we mentally said we wanted to get out of it. We didn't know how, and for a while I've been going, we really need to move to the next stage. We need to be in a different area. This isn't working for us, but I don't know how. This bad thing is a good how. We get out from underneath the house, and we don't want to default on our debts. Trust me, we feel really crappy about that. We are honorable people. We pay what we owe. We're in a position we just can't anymore. So we get out of the house without having to worry about selling it, without having to worry about everything else, and we get into an area that we need to be. And that's been a major upside. That's taking it in stride. Because I got to tell you, even though I did get hit on a human level here, and I've had tears and I've had dark times, years ago, I never would have been there. Now I've leveled up to a point that I can take it and go, okay, no, this is the next good thing. Mort?
Sometimes you just need to buckle down and take care of business. Sometimes that's what the change is, and you're going to come across those things that as you're growing to another level, you're going to have to let go of those things that, as I've been saying this whole time, are no longer serving you. And I'm not talking about lose your friends because they can't do anything for you. That's not what I mean. I mean those things that are dragging you back, that are holding you down, that are keeping you from moving forward. Those things are not serving you anymore. They're not serving the greater good of you. They're not serving the greater good of your family, of your life, of your business, of your relationship. Going out to the bars and having a good time with your drinking buddies is not serving your relationship. Find another way to be. Not saying don't have a good time. I'm not saying don't go out to the bar or whatever it is you want to do. Find a way to do it with your spouse, with your mate, this person that you've chosen, not just to take care of your house, but to spend a life with. As you're moving into this new area, those things that do not work for you anymore, let them go. It doesn't mean that you're getting old. It doesn't mean that you're not able to have childlike fun anymore. Move it. Lose it. Cut it loose, because that excess fat, you don't need it. You are lean, trim, and racy as far as leveling up your life. You don't need that stuff. That's bogging you down. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, I wanted to get into a discussion of something that I'm reading right now, but I don't know that it fits. So unless, Charles, if you don't have anything else to talk about in this section, I'm going to talk about it anyways. But do you have anything pressing?
If you want, we can hold it to the next one. I don't have anything pressing, but we can go ahead and wrap out and tell everybody where to find this and all this other stuff.
Yeah, let's hold it because it doesn't really fit here. I want to get more into it. It's a really, really groovy thing, and I want to give it its own due.
All right, we'll start with that in the On Beyond. So again, on the radio, as it were, in our syndicated markets around the world, you're saying, oh, I'm missing out. Well, you're not going to miss out. On Beyond is done for the podcast. Go to successfreaks.com. The current podcast, we stay about a week and a half behind, because we do things and we get them out there to the world, and then we process them and get them up on the website. So the most current show is up, and if you can't find the one you're looking for, it's coming. But go to successfreaks.com, and you'll get an extra 15 to 20 minutes of us discussing what's on our minds and talking about the topics of the day and carrying that out. So you can find that there. And that's what we're referring to when we move this on to the last, because this is the end of the road for us here on air, and we need to tell you where to find us. So what would you like to tell them today, sir?
Well, as Charles was talking about, you go to successfreaks.com, you find everything there, all of our social media, everything from Facebook to Twitter to Google+. If you're looking for the show, you can find it there. You can also find the show on iTunes. So if you have an iPod or anything like that, go ahead and it'll be go to iTunes and subscribe to us there. Automatic download every week. As far as Facebook, facebook.com/successfreaks, please go there and leave a comment. If you like our show, I'm having a lot of people come up to me every once in a while and say, wow, I really like your show. I really like what you're doing. Don't keep that to yourself. Let us know. And it's not fair that I'm the only one that gets to hear this. Charles needs to hear it too, because honestly, that's our payment right now in moving forward with this. That's how you're feeding us and helping us know that, oh, look, we're doing good in the world. We're not just doing this for each other. So please don't hold back. Leave a comment. Say something to us. If you don't want to do it on Facebook because you're shy, contacts, CONTACTS, I think I spelled that right, contacts@successfreaks.com. That both of us will get that email. So those are those places.
You know, I do want to say a big shout out to my From the Helicarrier boys and girls out there who have come over to listen to Success Freaks. I do another show in the afternoon about a game, and if you're interested, you can find it thehelicarrier.com. But it's specifically about a game. But I did get, last week when I needed it, I had people reach out when we were behind on posting the show, said, hey, is there anything new, because I've been addicted to becoming successful, and I needed that, and thank you for reaching out and saying something. You hit everything else. You know, make sure you rate us on iTunes. That's how other people can find out more about us. I think that's about it, sir.
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of episodes since we mentioned that Charles and I have put out a book. It is available on your Kindle app, available through Amazon. You don't have to have a Kindle. As long as you have a smartphone or a tablet, you can look at it there. It is Success Freaks Guide to Dream Hunting, and now that I've looked at it long enough, I'm like, oh my God, we need a better title, because that just is a mouthful. But it's a collection of our articles that we write about being successful and moving up and leveling up your life. So check that out, successfreaks.com/books. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody else. This has been R. Mordant Mon.
And I am the cold doesn't bother me anyway, Bear.
Ciao, Success Freaks. Boom, baby. And that's how we do.
And quite honestly, that book probably should have been called Boom Baby. But you know, see, that's the thing when you grow, and this is all for the video, because we're not going to put this in the podcast. We'll start the on beyond in a minute. But that's when you're growing in life, where you are, where you were was you really had this idea of where it should trigger and what it should say, and you were dead set on it, and it sounded good. And at the time, I mean, I'm sure even Joe Vitale goes through this with his books, going, at the time, that's where it was. It's a great book, but I don't even talk about it anymore. I mean, 10 years from now, when we have a dozen books, I'll be like, yeah, sir. Even the bishop, you know, is like, he only talks about his current book, maybe one back, and he's like, yeah, there's other stuff, and that's where I was then, but I've changed some thoughts, and you know, blah blah. So it's natural to go, oh my God, that's a long ass title.
You hear about musicians who are like talking about their old albums. You know, that old thing, and I always thought that was kind of weird until, you know, the Tortuga Twins started making DVDs, and I look back at just even one back or two back, and I'm just like, oh, God, what's the next? Let's move on to the next one. I don't want to talk about those. Yeah, we got them. They're there. Buy them. However, blah. Here's a new one.
Yeah, no, I get that. So we're going to start with the What If It All Goes Right here. Let's put.
Now, do we want to do this? Do we want to do this in the On Beyond, or you want to save it for an in-show sometime?
That's your thing, man.
I want to save it for in-show. I don't want to just be in this segment here.
Okay.
You had something else you wanted to talk about in this segment, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I got stuff.
Fabulous. Let's do that. And also, that gives me a chance to read more of the book so I can talk about it and just go, this is my notes.
Oh, yeah, you need to understand what you're going to say about it. Yeah. I've done that in the past. I hate that. It's like, yeah, there's this great thing. What's it about? I don't know. I just read the first few pages, but it's really awesome.
It made me feel good.
Stop. Just
go make it happen.
All right, here we go. I got 17 minutes on the clock. Start time marker. Welcome to On Beyond Success Freaks, where we go bigger, badder, better, more into the topics of the day. This episode is 152, It's all about transitions and just really focusing on how to take them in stride, what's going on. And we talked about people earlier. We talked about
Yeah, we did. We talked about people.
We did. If your name didn't come up, then we don't like you. No, if we didn't throw names out, we don't do that. But we talked about good, and the thing that we didn't hit on that I wanted to hit on, we talked about home, we talked about too many projects. When things are good in your life, but you still have to let them go, that's really difficult. Leaving your home, and I don't mean the house you live in. For me, the thing that keeps coming to mind is I was in a church at one point, really going through a hard transition in my life. I was 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there, I forget. And it really helped me. It really leveled me up greatly, getting me out of some bad mindsets and into good ones. But there came a point in time there where I knew I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. The energy changed, and it no longer felt like home, but I felt good because I was in the orchestra and recognized, and I was doing this and doing that, and I spent about 6 miserable months there when I finally just walked away because I didn't have anything else to go to. I had to leave there, and that's always hard. But what I didn't get to talk about was people you help. The good people you help and the things that you do. And it was a big church. They didn't miss me. It didn't make a difference that I left. Whereas as the place that I am now, the church I am now, if I left, it would leave an impact, which I would still do if I needed to. That's neither here nor there. But I'm thinking specifically about the Bear Calling Nation. When I first started podcasting, it was me against the world, and I threw stuff. I literally talked it to the wall. And what's funny is even though it's the opposite side of the room, I used to look at that side of the room. I literally would look at the wall and podcast, and I have the same angle because my roof is angled, even though I'm on the opposite side of the room now. Coming full circle, I can look at the wall and podcast and think nobody's out there if that's where I needed to be. And people started reaching out, and as things grew, I've always, even though I didn't have the words came from Mordant, and I always attribute that to him. I always had the mentality to say, help others be awesome. If you succeed, I succeed. I wanted to help others. So as people got attracted to me and connected to me, I built the Bear Calling Nation, which ended up being, I think, 8 shows and 12 hosts. And then I ended up doing 3 shows at one time, and it was a lot of stuff going on. And it just built and built and built. And I remember at one point, Mordant, you and I were working together. I can't remember if you were in the Nation or not then, but we were working together. And the Oprah Winfrey Network started to launch. Remember that?
Yep.
And you sent me a link going, hey, she's looking for a show. She's looking to do a reality show for everybody to compete to get their own show on her network. And you shot me the link, and I was like, oh, yeah. And I was in Philadelphia at the time, so this is 2010. And I distinctly remember going, but if I do this, I have to let go of my friends because I knew I was doing so much for them and that's how I built the Nation. Don't get me wrong. I said, okay, you've got great talent, you've got great potential, great possibility. I will do the stuff you don't know how to do. I'll handle the website stuff. Sometimes it was production. It was different things. A lot of it was technical website stuff that they didn't even want to learn. I said, I'll handle this. You don't have to worry about it, and you get your message out. And they did. And I remember at that point going, if I do this with Oprah Winfrey, I will have to let go of them because I won't have time to do any of their stuff. And I felt like it would destroy them. Now, that's a little, it's not egotistical like I'm holding you up, but it is a little self-centered, thinking that I'm the center of the universe there. And honestly, I did the Oprah Winfrey thing, but I kind of put the energy on it that I can't do this right now because I'm going to lose the Nation. Things progressed, we moved forward, and at some point, and this is referencing in the main show that we did, where I said, what happens when your personal goals for your life conflict with what you're doing, and what if what you're doing is good? And I was helping them be awesome, and I was helping Mordant be awesome, and like I said, we grew to all these different shows, and I was doing all these different things, and my wife got tired of it because I was, especially when we came to No Agenda Stream, I was on the phone a lot with people doing a lot, never got paid a dime for it, never asked a dime for it. And there was finally, before No Agenda came along, I had to make up in my mind, this is keeping me back. I don't know how to let it go without hurting people. I don't want to hurt people, but you have to take care of yourself first. That's the thing I learned as a paramedic that I lost here, was I have to take care of me. Where am I going? If I'm not making any money on this, where am I going with it? It's a conversation that Mort and I have had about Success Freaks. If we're not making money, we're not a business. So what do we do? And actually, we may talk about that here on Beyond. I don't know. I ultimately had to say, okay, I'm going to take care of myself and trust that everybody can take care of themselves. I'm not saying fool with you. I'm not saying, get the hell out. I'm saying I have to make this choice for myself. I'm willing to give you any assistance that I can, but you really are going to have to take up the mantle yourself and handle this. And I dismantled, whatever. I got rid of the Bear Calling Nation, but we stayed friends. Out of all those people, most of those people walked away because what really happened was I was this anchor, keeping them from moving on with their lives and going where they needed to be. And my helping them was keeping them back. And my helping them was keeping me back. And we let it go. I mean, Mordant and I stayed together and walked our path. Everybody else pretty much did different things. And that was a hard thing to go through, but I'm much happier now because nobody was destroyed by my actions, and that was what I was worried about.
Yep, I think that something that we've said throughout the show is life has changed, but I want to add that life is also challenge. If you're faced with a similar situation as Charles, you have an opportunity to move somewhere, and you're like, well, what about my friends? And there's a difference between what about my friends, I don't want to leave them, and what about my friends, I need to be there for them, they can't blah, 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 blah without me. Life is challenge. It's part of why we're here, so that there's no mistake that if you're going to a gym, you lift heavier weights and you hurt yourself, and not really hurt yourself, but I mean you hurt your muscles so that they grow. It works that way. You tear things down so that it grows. Same thing in life. You're challenged with something until you can find your way around it and you grow. In a video game, you keep fighting this monster and dying and dying and dying until you figure it out and you grow, and then you can beat him. The same thing with your friends. If you're going to step out, there may be a vacuum there, but they've been leaning on you a little bit. They've been, if I have somebody else in the car, I don't have to think about how do I get to someplace. I can just ask them. I don't have, and then I never learn my way around. If I use the GPS all the time, I never learn my way around. If Charles is always there for them, they're never going to have that opportunity to grow. They're not going to accept that challenge. Nobody else is going to step up because he's doing it.
Right.
Don't use them as an excuse to move forward and be challenged in your own life because you think that you're helping them out. You're not helping them. You're doing it for them. They're not learning how to fish. You're giving them fish. They're not becoming fishermen. They're becoming people who just buy fish. And you're doing the same thing to yourself as well because you're using them as an excuse not to try. Well, I don't want to do this. Sure, yeah. You're the big fish. You're the big guy at the head. You're the big chief at the head of the tribe. You're not the And I don't want to ever leave high school because I'm a senior and everything's great. I don't want to go to college because then I'll be just a little fish. Yes, but then you're always going to be a high school senior. That's lame at 35. So it's a two-pronged thing. If you really want to help them out and you've got a genuine opportunity, go for it. They're going to find a way, or if they're not ready for it, somebody else will come in. They'll find somebody else to glom onto it. Maybe that's their life, and if that's the way they are, that's also holding you back. Yeah. But don't think of this as anything else than it's a veiled excuse not to try in your own life. Because it's just like, well, I don't want to leave. I don't want to, they need help. Yeah, you need to move forward. You need to go. You really want to help them become bigger than you are. Become the best you that you can be. Accept those challenges. Accept those hardships. Fall down, fail, get back up again, and learn. Then you're helping them, showing them by example. That's what you need to be doing at this time.
The first level up I did there was I had to take care of myself. The second level up was I learned to build them a vehicle they could drive. And that's what I did with Hugh. Hugh is still doing the road show. I did with everybody. It's like, here's a vehicle that you can drive that you don't depend on me, but I'm not leaving you in the dust and the cold, and you have to start over from scratch. And everybody made their decisions on how to do that. And Hugh is perfectly happy doing what he's doing, and everything's running. Every once in a while, they reach out to me and say, hey, can you help? Of course I can help. Of course I do that. I was there for their 5th year anniversary, I think it was. I was there for a bunch of their milestones, and I love coming back and doing that with them. But the next level up actually happened recently was a project that Morton and I want to talk about that I was on. It's called In the Now with Jim Swilley. It's a new YouTube TV show. And for a long time, I've been talking to him about doing podcasting, and it just never clicked. It wasn't right. Mordek came in this first part of this season and hit me up. I was like, man, you got to be talking to him about it. So I have. Why don't you go talk to him? Because a different voice, a different energy, whatever. Well, apparently he'd already been snowballing an idea in his head to do this TV channel, and Mordek got in there and said something, and it sparked, and boom, went everywhere. And so, of course, they're reaching out to him. How do we do this? They're because I'm part of the church and a part of what they do. More than that, I'm really a part of what they do. And they wanted me in. So he and I went to a meeting. And right before that meeting, I got invited to be on the show itself with about 15 to 18 other people. Mordek did not get invited. Now, it wasn't a slight. It wasn't a mistake. Like, oh, we just forgot. It was, these are the people on the radar. And there ended up being a reason for that. And I know for myself, this whole time, I actually had a conversation with you on it. Mordek said, hey, are you going to be on the show? And your response was, well, I wasn't invited. I was like, well, that's neither here nor there. He's always talking to you. Why don't you suggest something? And I felt really bad because he and I are partners. He and I have good things to say together and individually. And the whole time I'm on the show, I have a place at the table. And Mordek was... If somehow you got, I don't know if you volunteered or got regulated, but you were the PA, man. You were there to make sure people had water. You were there to welcome the guests and different things. And at one point, I didn't even know where to put an empty water bottle. I said, I hate to PA you, but I don't know where to put this. And I just handed it to you, and you were very happy. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you're probably upset that you're not at the table. But the level up part for me was I had to let that go and understand you're a big boy. At any point in time, you could say, hey, I would like to sit there and be at the table. You could have told anybody, and it's on you. And even until I talked to you today, I still had that nagging in my head that you're a little upset that you didn't get to be on the show. And that's not, that didn't even seem to be the case. But that was a level up for me. That's a whole long road from Bear Calling Nation of I can't do things for other people. I can open the doors and suggest and say, hey, but I had to trust that you're a big boy and you can handle it, and you are a big boy and you did handle it, and you did what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it was a situation where I got to something that I don't do very often. And I remember when I went back to my youth group days, we talk about being a servant. Hey, man, are you being a servant? Talking about being a servant of God, even how Jesus was a servant as he washed the disciples' feet and prepared them on that, on those nights, or on that night. I have an opportunity to practice that, and I have, those of you who know me know I have a little bit of a big ego. It's not too big, but it is something that I've worked in banquet waitering, et cetera, et cetera. So when they needed, I just wanted to be a part of the project. And part of my servitude right then was, if it seems like he was picking people that he wanted to have, their people that he was really close friends with, that he was comfortable speaking with, and they were all people on with either members of his church or people who he had other preachers, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to be a part of the project. I could have got butthurt about it, but I'm here to make sure that everything else goes smoothly. You need something, I'm going to go ahead and change this out. You need something to happen over here, I'll go ahead and take care of that. Whatever that was, because I believe in the project. Now, if they want to invite me for some time later, I'll be back in the area again another time, because I think this is to continue on. And it was a good thing for me to do, because I don't always get to be in that position. And I say get to be in that position, not have to be in that position. Because if you can learn, for one thing, being in that position, it helps you empathize with people who are in that position, people who are taking care of you. I still remember there was we have, the Tortuga Twins have what we call, stage minions that help us, set up our props and do everything. And there was one time in Minnesota, something was out of sorts with setting up the props, and I went to move forward with it, and one of my minions walked up and was dealing with it. She looked at me and said, I got this, go be funny. Basically telling me, this is not your job. That's your job. Go do that. And it was such a wonderful compliment on some level. And there was no, oh, that's your role and this is my role type of thing. It was just a look here. We're all putting this on together. Go do your part. And it was my honor to be able to make sure that everybody else got to comfortably do their part, and that one day, years from now, those gentlemen at the table are going to think back and go, that was a great show, and I remember the water bearer. He was great.
Whatever. I actually go through something similar, but the flip side of that is something I said there. I don't think it made it on tape, but something I said in the day because he was asking why people agreed to come. And the short version is I said, my place is always at the table. You're just the first person to ask. I always give to what people ask because you can't do more. And I'm always asked to sweep the floors or set up the audio. And I do that. And I did a little bit of that here. But this was the first time that I can ever really remember on the day of that not only did I not have to do anything behind the scenes, I was protected, like your minion. I walked in and somebody asked me, it's like, hey, what are you doing today? I said, I didn't even think about this, but I literally phrased it, I have a place at the table. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Can you run a camera? Because it was supposed to be a rotate in and out. It didn't turn out to be that way, but it was supposed to be different guests at different times. And, of course, me being me, I said, yes. And two other people who were there, I'll go throw up Pastor Avery and Pastor Ernie, both immediately said, no, you can't do that. I was moving on. They weren't doing it for my benefit. They were actually telling the person asking, like, he's the rock star today. He's at the table. He will not do this today. Today he sits there. And that's the first time in my life I'd ever had that or heard that, and it was good. It was cool. I'm still worried about you because you're my boy, Blue. And I was a little awkward seeing you in the halls because I felt like we sit together. And I was sitting here, I was sitting way up here, and you were down there, and that wasn't the case. But I'm glad to see that we both had things that were unusual in our lives there. And if you'd like to see the show, the first episode is up now. It's youtube.com/Bish in the Now. That's BISHINTHENOW. Bish in the Now. It's called In the Now with Jim Swilley. And Aaron was watching it this morning, and from what little I saw so far, I'm going to go watch it later on today. It was really awesome.
Yep, and those of you, in case you have not noticed, Charles says something that's very, very true. All you have to do is invite us. We will come and speak at your table. We will come and speak at your anything. But we do need to be invited. Oh, I'm sure they're too busy. We're not too busy. And if we are too busy, we'll schedule it out so that we can come speak for you, for your group, for whatever, or just even do a panel at your table. We are here to get a message out, and it's a message that I think is no crowd too small, no auditorium too big.
And we live our message, which is help others be awesome. So in doing so, it's not just about promoting us. We will help you be awesome in the process.
Boom, baby. All right, I think that's good. You have anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Ambiance Success Freaks. This has been R. Mordetman.
And I am the leveled up bear, Charles McFall.
That's very nice, very nice. Ciao, Dream Hunters. I said it already. Boom, baby.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, one viewer, for watching live, and everybody who goes back to YouTube and finds us later.
Most excellent.